Good evening everyone, Daniel Miller here. How are you all doing? Thank you all for coming and joining my gaming industry broadcast yet again. As you know, we are covering everything hot to stop the press 5 days a week. We always get the very best of the news from several gaming portals out there. They include IGN.com, videogamer.com, GameSpot and Game Informer. Today we are going to be looking first of all at the biggest event of the year, well, one of the biggest events of the year after E3 of course, and that is Game Awards 2018. They are taking place tomorrow, as you know, and I'm going to be introducing a few bits and pieces on the event, and also with some pointers as to where you can watch it online, and we'll have a close look at some of the nominations. Lots of people anticipating some very serious, very big breakout news to come out of the event. I would not like to speculate at this stage where those news are going to come from, but obviously they'll be attached to some of the biggest developers such as Microsoft and Bungie and the rest of them. So really we have to remain a bit patient. We have to wait until tomorrow night and we'll see whatever is to come before us. So as you know, the Game Awards 2018 is taking place on December the 6th, which is tomorrow, and everyone will be able to watch this event live. Probably the best thing to do if you are a console streamer or a console user, indeed if you are a PC user, is simply to go to IGN.com, and they will be doing a live coverage of the entire event. So probably the best thing to do is to access your IGN.com app, regardless whether you want to view it on your phone, on your console or PC, and the entire coverage will be there for you. They'll start much earlier. There'll be lots of broadcasters coming in with guests, so definitely similar to the recent coverage of Xbox events. Worth watching, worth catching up, worth paying attention to everything said. I'm hoping that Bungie will throw in something. We've heard a lot from them during the last couple of weeks. The season of the Forge started yesterday and we have thoroughly enjoyed it so far. I had a few emails and messages coming in from my Destiny veterans being delighted with all that's on offer. Indeed, I'd like to invite others to send me some messages, tweets and any other form of correspondence indicating what you find exciting about Annual Pass and Season of Forge so far, because we know what's on offer, but what is your experience? How did you find all of those goodies which are coming your way? What is that you're most excited about? What is that you do not want to see? Tell us, and indeed I'll feed this information to Bungie, and they will be very, very glad to hear from everyone that is in our Destiny universe. Coming back to the Game Awards 2018, you know that in addition to recognizing the best games of the year, the Game Awards also historically features several big reveals. All of the major announcements are very, very strictly kept under wraps. But I guess IGN says that they have a few ideas on what surprises this year the show might have in store. So please do take on board the fact that these are rumors or these are assumptions. They're nowhere near the news which we are to face tomorrow, but IGN says that as they're covering the event live, and they'll keep everyone updated with all of the winners and breaking news as it happens. So well, Rocksteady confirmed it's not making any announcements. We know that the directors of Avengers 4 will be presenters at the Game Awards, so that is a very, very big thumbs up. Additionally, BioWare recently teased the Dragon Age announcement, which is allegedly to be coming soon. We love that game. I've played Dragon Age, the original, and Awakening for many, many months and years on Xbox, and I'm still to play the latest Dragon Age Inquisition, which I will buy before Christmas in one of those beautiful PS4 bundles. We have these offers to which Dragon Age Inquisition, Game of the Year edition together with Mass Effect Andromeda Special Edition could be purchased for mere 12 or 13 pounds, and indeed that is the 16 pounds, big pardon. And that is the very, very best offer I've come across so far. So in fact, little time for all to be played, particularly if you are a pro streamer. So, but we are very excited, and I'm very excited about this possibility. In fact, Casey Hudson, the one of the main people in BioWare, had teased the idea several times. So we perhaps could be hearing a bit more, and we are certainly hoping that BioWare are going to disclose at least something related to Dragon Age tomorrow. So the Game Awards is coming back for its 5th year tomorrow, which is December the 6th. And that is at, so listen to this very carefully, get your diaries out and your Google calendars. Thursday, December the 6th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. I repeat this again. December the 6th, which is tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. For the European viewers, that is Friday, December the 7th at 1:30 a.m. UK time and 12:30 p.m. AUT. So I would say that 1:30 a.m. UK time, and then we would say 2:30 a.m. European time. The event will be streaming live from the Microsoft Theatre in Los Angeles, California, and indeed accessible probably these on IGN.com. So if you have the IGN.com app, download it to your console or Android phone or iPhone as it goes, your mobile phone I should say, your smartphone, you'll be able to view it. As I said, European viewers, watch this space, 1:30 a.m. and I'm getting it wrong again. The UK viewers at 1:30 a.m. and the European viewers, the main European part of the continent, that will be 2:30 a.m. and for the American viewers it's 5:30 p.m. Pacific time at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Right, so wherever you watch it, you have all these different apps and all these different options which you can choose. We are recommending, well, I'm recommending IGN.com as one of the best. You can obviously access it on YouTube as well, but I think if you want to make sure that you can see not just the Game Awards ceremony, but also various guests coming in and lots of discussions with developers, then IGN.com is going to be obviously the very best. Much of what will be at the show is shrouded in secrecy, but there obviously is a full list of nominees. Marvel, Spider-Man, God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2 are all up for the Game of the Year, along being nominated for other categories that include Best Narrative, Best Game Direction, Best Action Adventure Game. God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2 are tied for the most of those nominations for 2018. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Monster Hunter World, and Celeste are also nominated for the Game of the Year. Would it not be astonishing if Celeste won it and basically took over the pedestal from the other two games? I mean, it's very unlikely. It will be between Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War for certain. So Game of the Year categories: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, Red Dead Redemption 2. Best Action Game: Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Dead Cells, Destiny 2 Forsaken, Far Cry 5, Mega Man 11. Well, call me biased, but I want Destiny 2 Forsaken to win. And I'm sure all of my friends and veterans in the community are hoping for that too. Indeed, winning the Best Action Game category, Destiny 2 Forsaken would then acquire extra publicity, and this would stimulate more investment in the company, which could result with a lot more interesting items and downloadable content from various seasons as announced by Bungie. We are really looking forward to that, and I'm certainly hoping and betting on Destiny 2 Forsaken to be winning the Best Action Game. Best Action Adventure Game: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, Shadow of the Tomb Raider as well. Best RPG: Dragon Quest XI, Monster Hunter World, Ni no Kuni 2, Octopath Traveler, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deathfire. Best Game Direction, A Way Out, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2. Well, this is a very tough category because all of those 5 games are magnificently directed, so it is going to be literally tooth and nail battle between them. Excuse me. Best Narrative, again, very similar types of games are in there. Detroit Become Human, God of War, Life is Strange 2 Episode 1, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2. I absolutely bet on either Life is Strange 2 Episode 1 or Detroit Become Human. Maybe I'm a bit biased because I've played both of these games, but beautiful story, beautiful narrative, and certainly for me, one of those really should win. I'm a great supporter of Quantic Dream, the developer of Detroit Become Human, and I'm certainly hoping that they will be ranking very, very highly on the night. We'll just have a look at 2 more categories, which is Best Ongoing Game, Destiny 2 Forsaken, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, Overwatch, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Well, to be honest with you, those games are all absolutely staggering in quality, and it's very, very hard to predict which one will be topping this category. They're all playable and replayable, and you can be a part of the world for many, many, many years. Each one of them is exciting in a different way. They have lots of different perks and skills which you need to either learn or acquire during gameplay, and are always exciting, always interesting, with massive communities behind them. In fact, today I played Fortnite for the 2nd or 3rd time, and I had an absolutely wonderful time. So many different opportunities for any gamer in that game. No wonder that more than 200 million people are registered users. I'm playing it 24/7, as well as probably extra 300 million trying it out on perhaps less regular basis. It's called Fortnite Craze, or the global phenomenon, and I can assure you it absolutely lives to its direction, and that is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Octopath Traveler, Red Dead Redemption 2, Return of the Obra Dinn. In fact, I would throw in Destiny 2 Forsaken as well. It's beautifully designed, but unfortunately it didn't really make it to that list. So, we have many other categories, but I do not want to bore you with that. We have to see what happens on the night, the big night, which is tomorrow. So we quickly now race through some of the other news. We are not going to be looking at any special offers and deals tonight. The reason for that is obviously we focus on the Game Awards. There's plenty fast to look forward to, and there is certainly a lot of buzz and excitement about those reveals, because we may hear that Rockstar is preparing something magnificent, that Bethesda perhaps have been keeping another game under wraps. We might hear something on Anthem from BioWare. God knows what goodies they will bring, but as you know, the Game Awards and various other big developer conferences have been the major stage for those reveals, and we're always excited to hear from the lead developers, and indeed then to be excited to watch their vidocs, or all those interesting bits which they put together. I watched several times, a half dozen times if not more, the video documentary made by Bungie on Season of the Forge and Annual Pass and all the niceties in Destiny 2, and there's so much information in there that even if you watch it 2 or 3 times, I'm quite certain you were probably unlikely to be able to digest all that was said, and therefore you need to watch it quite a few times. But that's the idea, bit of graphics, bit of gameplay. They're recommending different bits of kit which you'll be getting, and they're strategizing a bit, and it's just really the way it should be. I personally feel, and I've said this many times, that Bungie's new system of Annual Pass and all that is included is probably the step up for the new generation of gamers, and if they successfully launch and acquire considerable revenue from purchases of Annual Pass and various other bits which are on offer, then we are talking about everyone else needing to basically follow the lead. And we'll have to see how successful this is going to be, but I'm very excited. I've talked to quite a few Destiny Universe veterans, and they are very happy, because during the last year they had some concerns perhaps that Destiny 2 was not as developed as they expected it to be compared to absolutely staggering quality of Destiny 1, and they really wanted more story content, they wanted more action, they wanted many other bits and pieces done to the game in order to make it more replayable. And Bungie is obviously delivering. I think the community was perhaps a bit impatient. As you know, if you are to be working on a project like what turned out to be Forsaken, you really have to spend a lot of money and time and human resources on just the basic development, let alone its production. And I think Bungie definitely did deliver. Similar to the Taken King in Destiny 1, we had many expansions and many other subplots, and indeed one of the greatest surprises and tragedies of the game, which I'm not going to reveal to those who are going to be playing it in the Season Forge. So find out for yourself what this tragedy stroke biggest surprise or the unexpected development is. It's been received somewhat strangely, polarized the community, some in favor, many were against it, but you'll find out. And indeed, for anyone who is in possession of Destiny 2, Destiny 2 Forsaken, and Gambit, and indeed in possession of Annual Pass, then the access to Season of the Forge and all the other season for the next 12 months is guaranteed. So watch this space for further news, video documentaries, and all other tips on Destiny 2 Forsaken and Season of the Forge. In short, your Destiny 2 Forsaken Annual Pass. We wish Bungie and Destiny 2 very well tomorrow night. We want Destiny 2 to be winning that category. If I'm not mistaken, it's the best action game, and we definitely want Bungie to be acquiring as much support as possible from everyone in the community. We'll have a look at the games that we'll have a look at the game news that arrived to my desk today. All the news coming to our shores have been literally coming in abundance. Not surprising, really, considering we have several games coming out. The developers are busy prior to the Christmas holidays, and indeed we have the big events tomorrow. So we'll start with new Far Cry game, and we have seen that the developer had released a brand new game teaser, and it's showing post-apocalyptic setting. So that, I believe, has been set for exposure tomorrow night. Ubisoft has teased a new Far Cry game that looks set to adopt a post-apocalyptic vision and follows on from the events of this year's Far Cry 5. You know, my friends, I played yesterday The Division on Ubisoft Club and PlayStation 4. And really, if you are one of those Rainbow Six or The Division or Far Cry or I mentioned Rainbow Six fans, then this is the way forward, because once you are a gamer and a member of Ubisoft Club, you will acquire many freebies per game once you are playing it, and you can also acquire certain experience points and other thumbs up which you can use later in the game. So absolutely, just to remind everyone, if you are playing one of the Ubisoft games, you must subscribe to Ubisoft Club, which costs you nothing and gives you all the goodies. So remember that, very important, and you will absolutely enjoy it. The best way of doing this is, you can have your PlayStation switched on, your Xbox One, and you can play the game and then have a tablet nearby, and then on your tablet you can be checking all those developments. Alternatively, you can just click on Ubisoft Club from the options whilst you're playing the game, but it's going to delay the gameplay, and particularly a streamer is going to be producing some extras which you do not want to have on the screen. But as I said, having it on your tablet or Android and then combining the two is absolutely the best. I loved it. I have to say, The Division is an amazing game. I've heard a lot about it. I watched the trailer for the sequel, which is going to come out next year. I loved it. It was absolutely astonishing. And everything about it so far has been literally second to none. It's one of the best tactical shooters that I would have seen. And the co-op, the online play, and everything else is just the best possible. Coming back to Ubisoft rather than The Division, they are revealing that Far Cry game teaser tomorrow, and the video offers a glimpse of what appears to be Hope County's vast countryside, only to be rocked by a nuclear blast. After years of nuclear winter and raging storms, things appear to be getting back to normal, and flowers are blooming and blue skies are appearing once more. We felt hope. We were wrong, a voiceover declares, before we are treated to a mysterious figure. So watch this space. The video is a short teaser for the full reveal at tomorrow's Game Awards 2018, so we are going to be waiting 25 hours to find more. So if you want to see the teaser, which is very brief, I believe it's like less than a minute, then you go to Ubisoft YouTube channel and you go to Far Cry Game Awards 2018 teaser trailer, and you'll be able to access it. Alternatively, head to videogamer.com and look for the section on the news. There is a big report on Far Cry, and then at the bottom of the page there is the trailer as well. So a lot to look forward to. I absolutely love Far Cry, I love Ubisoft, and indeed look forward to what is to be said tomorrow, because the trailer may be just one section of that reveal. There may be one of those, top 10 reveals. So let's find out tomorrow. Well, Capcom teases a new project that will make you go, wow. We've heard a lot of rumors coming out of Capcom. The last couple of days, one of the biggest was about some form of merger between Resident Evil 2 Remake and PUBG. So we are not quite certain on what that might be, but we are certainly hoping for a map on PUBG, which could be perhaps lodged in Raccoon City. And I think that's probably a bit far-fetched in terms of the expectations, but actually the likely outcome at the beginning may be some skins or some kit, some uniforms, maybe some characters, and I applaud that really. I think it's wonderful to see two separate developers merging and then sharing various ideas. It just brings all of those gamers from those two communities together, so the community gets bigger and stronger. So Capcom is busy working on Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2 Remake right now, of course. We're obviously waiting for the remake to come out. But senior producer Yun Takeuchi did say it's also a surprise title in the works that will simply turn heads, so we're wondering what this title is going to be. Speaking with Famitsu magazine, and that was reported by Resetera, Takeuchi, who has worked on the likes of Resident Evil 2 and Lost Planet, mentioned the project while talking about Capcom is increasing its workforce to juggle multiple and AAA titles. We keep gradually increasing the size of our staff. I'm thinking that at some point maybe we might be able to handle 4 AAA titles at once. Also, in addition to that, we are currently working on a title that will make our fans think, wow, are you making really that? So there's no clue at all as to what this new game will be, but Capcom has a wealth of IPs to choose from. Dino Crisis, Onimusha, Darkstalkers, Resident Evil 3 Remake perhaps would be most greatly appreciated. I think it's unlikely there'll be other news coming out on Resident Evil franchise, because they will want to see the results of sales and the overall response to Resident Evil 2 Remake. So we need to hold our horses for the time being and just see how the sales are going to be progressing. So let's see, let's find out. So a lot to look forward to. Perhaps tomorrow we'll hear something from Capcom as well. We yesterday mentioned that Battlefield 5's first major update has been delayed and we were unsure about the dates, but actually DICE had rolled out the first major update following a brief delay, with Overture adding a ton of new content and fixes into the mix of the World War II shooter. As you know, Battlefield 5 is a very popular game, and there was a sort of sense of concern and disappointment that the DLC would be significantly delayed, but that's been avoided and they're able to fix all the bugs and glitches, and indeed you can download it straight away if you are its proud owner of PlayStation 4 or consoles. The biggest additions come in the shape of the new War Stories mission, The Last Tiger, which focuses on German tank crew during the final stages of the conflict. There is also a new map in the shape of Panzerstorm, which is focused on vehicles. Other new additions include the practice range and new vehicle skin customization options. Vehicles have also seen a number of changes, including the German U-87 Stuka, which has had its damage model tweaked to bring it closer to bombers, and U-88A model now carries fewer light bombs than before. Meanwhile, throwing knives have had their damage range and capacity reduced to 6.5 meters and 2 respectively. Additional spawn points have also been added to all maps on Conquest, Domination and Breakthrough. So the patch notes are phenomenally long. You have 15 pages of those. If you're interested, if you are a proud Battlefield 5 owner, then head to videogamer.com, access the bottom of the page, and there's a link for you to access all those 15 pages. Battlefield 5 was released on PlayStation 4, PC and Xbox One on November the 20th, just less than 2 weeks ago. and there are lots of reviews and comments on all of those news portals which I use. They include videogamer.com, IGN.com, GameInformer.com, and GameSpot.com. Well, we've heard a lot of news about Starbreeze during the last few days, and sadly, today we received the news, because obviously the news was about possible liquidity problems and liability and tax problems and, possible bankruptcy, possible liquidation was something hanging in the air. And we heard that Starbreeze Studios offices have been raided by Swedish authorities today in the morning on suspicion of gross insider breach. So that's another surprise to come from the developer. The news comes just a few days after the troubled publisher confirmed it had filed for reconstruction in an attempt to get back on track after lackluster sales of Overkill's The Walking Dead. Starbreeze's reconstruction plans also saw CEO Bob Anderson stepping down from his role and resigning from the board of directors. According to a report on Dagens Industry, a number of computers were seen being carried away by authorities at the Stockholm-based HQ, while an unnamed individual was confirmed to have been detained following a raid. So altogether, most unpleasant and grossly mysterious. We do not know the details, but evidently something is going on. I personally find some really bizarre news coming out of the headquarters, varying from one sort of extreme to another. So we just have to, wait to hear the facts. But sadly, it may well be affecting the game development. We perhaps are going to be hearing more on the Walking Dead franchise and its possible demise. Rockstar has no plans to reset Red Dead Online progress. The developer behind Red Dead Online has confirmed it has no plans to reset player progress after completion of the beta period. Last week, Rockstar Games warned players that they may have their progress reset if required due to potential issues rearing their head. However, it now appears that you'll be able to keep all of your hard-earned stats, no resets and no loss of data. So there's the statement. We appreciate all the continued feedback we are receiving on the Red Dead Online beta. For players concerned about the potential for progress and stat resets, we currently do not have any plans to reset them as part of the beta rollout. We are currently still working on the game's stability and economy balancing for an update that we hope to release later this week. Please stay tuned for more news to come. Red Dead Online is still in beta, so expect plenty more changes and frequent updates to roll out in the coming months. Rockstar launched Red Dead Redemption 2 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One at the end of October, and within a few weeks managed to ship 17 million copies worldwide. It sold 3 times as much as the original Red Dead during its launch month. Many more news here at the front of me today, I have to say. Astonishing, really. Very, very busy industry. Not surprising, considering that you have the awards week coming up, and the throw in some bits of news. A Swedish retailer has posting, I beg your pardon, Metroid Prime Trilogy rumored for Switch. Switch is extremely popular worldwide, and the new titles are coming in all times. Swedish retailer has posted a listing for Nintendo Switch version of the Metroid Prime Trilogy, igniting speculation that an announcement for this week's The Game Awards is in the pipeline. The trilogy was previously released on the Wii and Wii U and features Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. The first 2 games were released on the GameCube, while the third Prime a Wii exclusive. It should be noted that a translation of the retailer's listing says that the Switch version is only rumoured and is expecting a reveal at this week's The Game Awards. To be fair, the Switch version of the Metroid Prime Trilogy would make a lot of sense. This game is currently in development, so it would be a great way for players who haven't played the previous games to catch up on his adventures. So let's wait and hear on the dates. We've heard some news on Dragon Age 4, and they indicate that perhaps the game will not be out for at least 3 years. So the next chapter in BioWare's Dragon Age franchise is definitely in full development, but it could take at least 3 years before we see it in stores, according to VentureBeat. That's reported the news. Citing sources familiar with the project, VentureBeat claims that Dragon Age 4, or whatever name BioWare ends up calling it, will not be out until 2021 at the earliest, and the final name has yet to be decided. However, while the game is still some ways off, we are going to be getting something at the Game Awards on Thursday night. This was, as I mentioned earlier, hinted by Casey Hudson. So let's see what happens tomorrow with BioWare and Dragon Age. This game has been in limbo for about a year, and we've heard earlier, a few months ago, that BioWare was still considering what direction this game needs to take. To be honest with you guys, I think the direction they need to take is similar to Destiny. It's an open world game with RPG elements, and they just need to be enhanced. And if they are to be looking up and considering what Bungie have done with their annual pass, they could incorporate the same. So, you know, why not expand and bring in extra content and make Dragon Age and Mass Effect playable forever? As you know, Mass Effect, my favourite game of all times. I simply cannot wait to see any form of development which will facilitate that kind of procedure, to which we can then play online, a bit like Elder Scrolls Online and Destiny Online, as long as we like. You know, not just replaying, but having new content, having new bits, having everything coming in at different times during the year, and keeping us abreast with more adventures, more excitement, more battles, and a lot more of that exciting cooperative fireteam display. Another bit of news which saddened me is that The Last of Us Part 2 will be skipping the Game Awards 2018. Well, I absolutely loved the game and adored the trailer, or I should say the cutscene, which they were screening during the E3 earlier in the year, and I'm just a bit disappointed to hear that they're not going to be really revealing any other additional news tomorrow. Naughty Dog has confirmed it will not be showing anything on The Last of Us Part 2 at this week's The Game Awards. Writing on Twitter, the California-based developer said it will reveal more details on the highly anticipated horror sequel at a later date. So that's likely to be next year during the E3, as there will be no PlayStation experience in the course of this year. The Last of Us Part 2 is currently in development for PlayStation 4 and takes place a few years after the first game. Players will now control a 19-year-old Ellie, who appears to be hell-bent on getting revenge for one reason or another, and from what we have seen so far, she absolutely succeeds in all of that. Naughty Dog has revealed that Ellie will be accompanied by an NPC companion, so we're not sure who that companion is going to be. Perhaps the girl we've seen in that trailer, you never know. Might be very exciting and very interesting. The game is still to be attracting a release date. The last bit of news today we have is on the Darkness, and that is basically telling us that the Darkness is joining Xbox One backwards compatibility lineup. Xbox One's backward compatibility lineup has gained an additional 3 titles today, with Major Nelson confirming Duke Nukem Forever, The Darkness, and The Bureau XCOM Declassified. All of them are playable on Microsoft's console. Everyone knows everything about Duke Nukem, so I needn't tell you anything about it. And it's notorious for being developed for a decade. When it finally did come out, it was not particularly well received. So it is going to be on Xbox One, and you can obviously access it through the backward compatibility. The Darkness was a great action game developed by Starbreeze Studios back in 2007 and released on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It also had a sequel in 2012, but unfortunately, due to the response from the gaming community, there has been no development ever since. And the Bureau XCOM Declassified has been, well, a game in development for quite some time, and numerous 2K studios worked on it. It was originally conceived as a first-person shooter, and then after that it was revamped into a strategy-flavored tactical third-person game in 2013. And I think the ultimate result was very, very good. So if you are in possession of either physical or digital copies of those 3 games, and you are having them on your Xbox One, you now are going to be able to, or any other Xbox, you are now going to be able to have them played on Xbox One through backwards compatibility. Right. Well, that's been a lot of news, and indeed it is not surprising, as we are having one of the major annual events taking place tomorrow in LA, and that is of course the Game Awards Ceremony 2018. I will just very briefly remind you right at the end of the times and basically where you can watch it live. I recommended IGN.com as possibly the best website to access this ceremony at, and basically you can just head to IGN.com app either on your smartphone, console, your PC or tablet, and then watch it as from December the 6th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time and 8:30 p.m. Eastern time if you are in the United States. Repeat again, Thursday December the 6th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time or 8:30 p.m. Eastern time if you are in the US, and Friday the December the 7th at 1:30 a.m. if you're in the UK, or 2:30 a.m. if you are somewhere in mainland Europe. Right, so if you are in Europe, that's 2:30 a.m. If you are in the UK, that is 1:30 a.m. And as I said, I recommended IGN.com as perhaps the best website through which you can access the entire event. In addition to just watching the ceremony, IGN.com have always great broadcasters and lots of different guests. It'll be thoroughly enjoyable to engage with all of them. It's going to be a lengthy broadcast, probably about 3 or 4 hours minimum. And beware, be prepared, and enjoy. On that note, we are coming to the end of this broadcast, and I will wish you all a very, very good night.